My name is Abraham. I'm the program officer for OFAB Nigeria, and I'm also the national PRO for the Biotech Society of Nigeria. Well, I have spent 8 years in science communication and as a researcher, and I'm happy to say in these 8 years I have successfully reached out to not less than 6,387,000 stakeholders, including farmers, policymakers, and a lot of other groups across Africa. So I'll be running through in just less than some few minutes. But before I go further, I want to start by telling us a very good story to depict how the Nigerian scenes for communicating science and the audience look like. So there was a man who once come across. Sorry, Gideon, can you give me that pin? So there was a man who once he came across a book titled "How to Fly an Aeroplane." So, when he saw the book in a bookstore, the man was very happy. And then he thought, if I can drive a car, I can also pilot an aeroplane. So determined to give it a try, he rented a small aircraft from a local airstrip. The attendant asked if he had any experience. Of course, the man replied him with confidence, "I have read the manual, so I know the basics." Of course, the attendant was so busy, and then handed over to him the keys to the aircraft. So the man climbed into the cockpit of the aeroplane, flipped through the pages of the manual, and began following the steps. So step 1 said, turn the key. He did. Step 2 says, push the throttle. The man did. Step 3 says, pull back on the yoke. To his amazement, the plane lifted off the ground as he soared into the sky. So he thought in himself, this is easier than I expected. But as the plane climbed higher, the manual started to get more complicated, with phrases like adjust the ailerons, monitor the altitude gauge, and so on. The man began to sweat profusely. He tried to keep up, but soon realized he was in over his head. The plane began to wobble, diving uncontrollably. He frantically flipped through the manual, searching for the chapter on how to land. To his horror, the last page of the manual reads, "Congratulations, you are airborne. For landing instruction, refer to volume 2. You can imagine the end of that man. Well, this has been the story of the majority of the audience in Nigeria. And then now, you need to communicate, you need to send a message. And then some of the guys, the anti-GMOs, just think, no, we don't need any more. We know all. So this is what we want you to do. So for me, my work is simple. And it can be depicted in the award I won last year in US St. Louis by SBRU. I do the research and I also tell the story. Okay, I already described this man, of how the majority of the public in Nigeria looks like, and how we need to, tell them. So this is going to be my last story for this time. If you look straight into this news, I was talking with Alex during lunch, and fortunately, Alex, the woman that was sitting by your left, after you left, called for my attention and requested for my card, because he was also interested in hearing about GM crops, and that she had heard so many false stories about GM crops, and she was overhearing I and Alex discussing, and where's she? Yes, this lady, sorry. So she heard us discussing and she wanted to hear more. So now I just want to show us a typical story. On the 19th of February, 2019, I woke up early in the morning and I saw this on the WhatsApp group. It is the WhatsApp group is for all the geneticists in Nigeria. They include professors, doctors, the guys who taught us the science of genetics. So I was just like a boy so people who taught me genetics, I was also in the group, and I woke up and I saw this story. I think this story also appeared in the Biotechnologies of Nigeria. Josephine mentioned that society. It's a society for all the biotechnologies in Nigeria, and there you find professors, people with very high pedigree. In fact, some of them taught us the biotechnology. Yeah, so we looked up to them as mentors. So I saw this news. The news is terrifying. The entire Burkina Faso government resigns. So, but who can tell me the source of this news? Can you see this? Who can read this statement? So, from this, who can tell me the source of this story? Please be bold enough. Who can tell me? What is the source of this story? Thank you. Also, so we all agree that BBC is the source of this story, right? Yes, according to no, this is the news and this is the link. www.bbc.com. Huh? You don't know BBC? No, but BBC is BBC. Excuse me, BBC has no duplicate. BBC is BBC. Yes, thank you. So the long story made short is that this WhatsApp story that was flying was reported by www.bbc.com. Now I can see many of us opening our mouth. Of course, it is not true. I just wanted to tell you that the anti-science movers they can go at any length to tell you anything they want you to believe. So when I woke up around, I think 4 a.m., and I saw this news with so many comments. So the news says, Bill Gates dirty tricks in Burkina Faso and Nigeria. Oh, this is so blood. Maybe I should read from my own end. So it says, the story began in January 2018 when Bill Gates pledged $45 million to the health initiative in Burkina Faso. Some felt that the funds were a decoy to cover bribery to stop government. So the last line states that the GMO mosquitoes were programmed at Imperial College London under a grant from Bill Gates to sterilize natural mosquitoes and humans across the African continent over time. Now let us analyze it. The first statement, to sterilize mosquitoes, is it true or false? Mosquitoes. Okay, our mosquito researcher. That statement, is it true that gene drive would sterilize mosquitoes? No, allow the expert to say. But gene drive would produce sterile mosquitoes, right? Okay, but one type will produce sterile mosquitoes. Yes, and then one will produce sterile mosquitoes. Okay, so now this news tells us that the mosquito will not just make the mosquitoes become sterile, but when these sterile mosquitoes beat humans, they too become sterile. And then here the last paragraph, and I will conclude with this paragraph. The terrifying news of this secret project for human sterilization of African with GMO mosquitoes alarmed African leaders, who quickly came down hard on President Kabore, forcing him to act. Similar things are working in Mali and Uganda. The homing endonuclease gene, is there anything called homing endonuclease gene? Thank you. That sterilizes the female mosquitoes also could be passed through saliva to humans during bites, and the human in turn could pass it on through sexual intercourse to another human in a cascade that could have the entire black continent exterminated before anything could be done about it. This is why 170 global groups called for moderation on the release of this new genetic extinction technology at the UN Convention. So while you are preparing to release GM mosquito, some people are already preparing to tell the story of these mosquitoes would make human beings sterile, infertile, and that if this mosquito beats you, you will not be able to produce, and over time the whole black nation will become extinct. Remember that mosquitoes are only prevalent in African countries. Right. So when I saw this, and I saw professors lamenting, shouting, "Oh, we said it, they want to kill us. That brigade." I saw my professors, people who taught me science, they were also supporting this news. So they were shouting, "MDMA, where are they? OFAB, where are they? NABDA." I also panicked because I saw BBC. So I took my time. And then I analyzed the whole stuff. Then my instinct says, why not click that link? Now, because my laptop couldn't project my WhatsApp. But anyway, I copied the link out. And if you click this link, actually, what is in this link is not what is in this. Yes. No, I can open so that you will see. Now, this is the link, because if you see this news, this is the link, www.bbc.com.news.world.africa. So if you copy that link, I need to end this slideshow. I will be ending here, so don't worry about your time. So if you copy that link and paste somewhere here, let's see what is in the link, the actual content. So the actual content says, Burkina Faso, Prime Minister and Cabinet resign from office. But let's see. Now, actually it was true that the man resigned. But it is not true that he resigned because of GM mosquito. So if you read through, I can share the link. If you read through, there is nothing GM, there's nothing mosquito here. Everything was just in Burkina. So an incident happened, and the anti-science group picked that link, copied the link, and put in their own story and shared on WhatsApp. So everybody in that WhatsApp group, all the WhatsApp group that I belong, they began to panic. It took me some level of careful observation to now report that link back on the same WhatsApp group and say, hey guys, this is not true. This is the actual content of this. So the story to learn from this is simple, that the landscape in Nigeria is actually characterized with several, thrilling adventures, unexpected twists. I heard Nasiru talked about him being surprised that a professor of science is actually against immunization, right? How do you talk about a professor who has spent almost 34 years to 40 years in science, kicking against GM, kicking against the science of gene drive? It can be quite amazing. But again, in all the twists, it always ends in happiness when you see the result of your effort, in the public. So Nigeria is so unique because our landscape is quite different from almost any other country across the world. Number one, Nigeria is made of not less than 220 million people. Not less than 200 million people, rather. Then there are 500 languages across Nigeria. And then there are 3,976 words. Right? So as we are here now, just calculate the fraction of we that are here to people that are not here yet. Thank God you can understand English. But there are many more people who cannot even understand this science in English. And you need to tell them the story of science. And then we have around 774 local government areas with diverse traditions, Many of these places have bad roads. In fact, bad network. Maybe you can only reach them through radio or TV. So you can imagine why the story is so bad, but always rewarding. So, of course, through storytelling and cultural integration, leveraging on media, community champions, edutainment, collaboration, seeing is believing, eating is believing. There was one time we had to cook food from PBR copy and then telomerase and ask people to come and eat. Because when you hear the story of, hey, if you eat GMO beans, you are going to get cancer. Well, people drew beans that look like a football and tell you this is how GMO beans look like. So we had to call people, come and eat food made from GMO beans, telomerase, and when they ate, they became convinced. And of course, so we have had a series of approaches to curb these menace, and it has always been rewarding. So forging ahead, well, I would want to recommend strong investment in training, and then embracing technology, policy advocacy, collaborative network, and building trust. Thank you for listening. You can meet me for more experiences.